Welcome back to Briggs on Books, our international talk show where we meet authors from all over the world and talk to them about their books, their process. For goodness sakes, how did they get a book published? How many of us are trying to do that unsuccessfully? Well, if you're picking your next book to read, check this one out, The Other Side of Nothing. Not only do I have the book and the book cover here, but I also have the author, Anastasia Zadeik. I think I got it right. We rehearsed it 20
You did.
times.
That was good.
Anastasia Zadeik, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Now you're in San Diego, California.
Yes.
What's the weather, by the way?
We are so lucky. It's probably about 74 and sunny today. It's usually between 70 and 72 and sunny almost every day of the year. So
I think it's the most beautiful place to live in the world. So
I agree. We've been here for 24 years now,
wow.
so this is the longest
Nice.
I've ever lived anywhere, and I think we're here for good.
Before the show started, I was discussing your book cover with you, and here it is for our viewers, because I've seen this exact image so many times. It's Half Dome and Yosemite. Tell us about the book, Anastasia.
So the book is about two young people who meet and fall in love in New York at a residential psychiatric facility, and they take off on an idealistic odyssey from New York City to Yosemite in search of art and meaning, and the young man wants to recreate an iconic Ansel Adams image. He believes it's going to launch his career. He has bipolar disorder and she is clinically depressed, and their two mothers are very concerned about their safety, and when they find out that authorities won't do anything because they're young adults, the two mothers take off after them with only a handful of clues, hoping to find them before things go sideways.
So what's your genre?
This is it's contemporary fiction. It's been kind of labeled as almost like a literary suspense. It's very suspenseful, but it is about some serious topics. It's Kirk has called it a stunning story of mental illness and its challenges. It's about mental illness, but it's also about young love and self-determination and second chances and sort of the lengths we will go to for the people we love.
That's great. Do they go by car?
They do. They leave everything behind, and they go and the young man steals one of his father's cars. His father's overseas, and they are divorced. His parents are divorced, and his father does not agree with the mom's way of dealing with their son's mental illness. And the father's father was also had bipolar disorder and ended up taking his own life. And so the father is determined not to let another person in his life kind of dictate his life. But the mother has a very different view. So when the young man takes his car, the father says he would report it, but then they would have to report their son as being, grand theft auto, and they don't really want to do that.
Yeah.
So the moms are trying to find them with just a few. They have a few clues, but very few.
Now, is this, does it chronicle their journey? Would we recognize places they go to?
Yes, you would. And the reason you will is because as part of the research, my daughter and I actually took the trip from New York to Yosemite in 5 days. And we did this in November 2016. The book is set when we went. And so you'll see, my daughter was laughing at me because I bought a GoPro and I had it out all the time. At times I would put it on my head to record what was happening. And finally she was like, "Mom, you got to lose the GoPro." You'll see descriptions of what they see. It is sprinkled throughout. I mean, one of the things that I think most authors learn is that when you do research, you can't tell the reader everything you learned. You can't show them everything you saw. So you have to kind of pick the things that are most likely to move the plot forward.
That's
so
great.
you will see things and hear things about their travels, but only the things that really helped to.
That's amazing that you and your daughter took the trip.
Yeah.
Research trip.
It was quite remarkable. It was a good thing for me in a number of ways, because I think for a lot of authors this is true, but particularly in this book, the research helped drive the plot, and the plot helped drive the research. So it became this very cyclical sort of synchronicity that was going on. I learned while we were in Yosemite in November 2016 that a very rare moon was rising, and it would only happen once in a lifetime. And so that helped to define why they were trying to get there quickly. So there's a lot of things that were happening in real time that helped me to determine what should happen in the book.
By the way, here's the book cover again. Who took this picture?
So this is actually an image we found this on Shutterstock, and we added the moon.
Oh.
So the image that the young man is trying to recreate is called Monolith. It's an Ansel Adams image. It's the one that launched Ansel Adams' career. And it was taken from this place that you can see in the very bottom of the book called the diving board. This is not the monolith image. This is actually more like an image that he took from the valley, which was called Moon Over Half Dome. But the image that the young man is trying to capture is monolith with the moon. So he's kind of trying to combine two of Ansel Adams' images into one.
Do you see this as being one of these books? Whenever I'm reading a book, I'm researching at the same time. So will this cause people to look up Ansel Adams and look up his pictures?
I think it will, and I think it will also cause people to perhaps look up and read Albert Camus' book, The Myth of Sisyphus, which is the male character's sort of Bible. It's the thing that guides his life, and it's something that I read multiple times while I was writing the book, and it sort of talks a lot about existentialism and self-determination, but it has a very positive image at the end of the book.
I don't want to run out of time. We are out of time, but you're so fascinating, I can't stop. You're helped put on a book festival. Tell us about that.
I do. I'm the director of programming for the San Diego Writers Festival. This is going to be I think it's our sixth year. It might be, sixth year. And our goal, it's a free festival. It's available to everyone. And it's held on the island of Coronado at the Coronado Public Library and Performing Arts Spaces. We feature both internationally well-known authors, but also a lot of local authors. Our goal is to kind of bring community together through the written word and the spoken word. So we have poets and spoken word artists, we have screenwriters, authors, playwrights. We kind of deal with all kinds of writing, but our goal is to kind of let people know what's available here in San Diego in the writing community, but also to feature some emerging writers and well-known writers as well.
That's great. When will that be?
It's going to be on April 5th, 2025 this year. And we do have some lead-up events, but we've already got some keynotes identified. We're pretty excited, and it should be a really, really fun event this year.
Yet another reason to travel to San Diego. So.
Absolutely. Please come.
By the way, we have your web address on the screen. What would our viewers find there?
So you're going to find information about the books, and you're also going to find some videos. I'm actually a narrative nonfiction performer, and so you'll find 10 videos of stories that I've told in a bar with a screen behind me with images. It's part of some work that I do with an organization here called So Say We All. It's a literary nonprofit that's the goal is to help people tell their stories and tell them better.
Nice. Well, thank you so much. Oh, let me just give you a minute. Anything you want to add about your book or about your life or anything in the world?
I think that one of the messages that I'd really like to get across with this book is that it's important to understand as much as possible and have empathy for people who are going through struggles with mental health. And there are a lot of resources out there for family, friends, and community members. If you know of someone or you are yourself dealing with a mental health struggle, please look for the resources at NAMI.org or AFSP.org, or NIMH has resources, not just for the people who are struggling themselves, but also for their family members and their friends. And so it's a really great thing to kind of just avail yourself of those resources before you need them, so you know what to say, what to do, and how to help.
Very good. Well, thank you for writing the book. I'm excited to read it. I wish I could get to all the books of all the authors I interview, but this one has got me because I have so much interest in New York and in Yosemite. I live almost to Yosemite, and fascinating approach to writing a book. Thank you.
Oh, thank you very much for having me.
All right. And for our viewers, don't go anywhere. We'll be back with more authors right after this.